Hello everyone, and this is my review for WWE NXT on April 26, 2017. And, last week's show was pretty good, and again, this week's show was pretty good as well. And it was good for a mixture of reasons. It wasn't just necessarily matches being good or anything on that side of it, though we do get a really good match as the main event. But they had video packages that were good and everything. There was a lot of good that came out of this, at least how I thought. So we'll just start right from the beginning here. They had Nikki Cross come out into the ring, which she just kind of sits there and smiles for a moment, and then goes right outside the ring, goes to where the ring announcer was, and is just starts calling out Ruby Riott, which eventually she does come down. They both stare down in the ring, and then they just start brawling. And it goes to the point. It's one of those pull away brawls that they can't. The security guys have a problem, pulling them apart and everything in that sense. Pretty good brawl to start off the show, and a good way of going for the time being. Up next, when they come back from commercial after that, you have Bobby Roode cutting a promo on Hideo Itami, calling what he did last week as a cowardly act. It was a sneak attack from him and everything, and says that he will have to earn his title shot. That's not just going to get him a match with Bobby Roode. He still has to earn his title opportunities and everything in that sense. Good promo, decent promo, short, to the point, not bad to go along with it. Which brought us up to the first match, which was Andrade Cien Almas going up against Drew McIntyre. And they are really playing up this whole, Cien Almas just, being casual about everything. But you also have, Drew McIntyre, who is having none of it in the match, where he goes for that spot in the ropes where he kind of just lounges in the middle rope and the top rope. Drew McIntyre just does a boot to the face and just I'm having none of this. The match itself was a relatively decent match between the two of them. Both good back and forth between both of them. Stiff spots here and there, good chops and everything to go along with that. With Drew McIntyre eventually going over with the Claymore kick, which you see later in the night. You have one of the interviewers trying to catch up with Andrade Cien Almas as he's leaving the arena and not caring about, the loss or anything, because he's just going to go out and party and everything, because that is his new gimmick, because he does not care about his job, apparently. Or he doesn't care about the aspect of winning or losing, as long as he gets to go out and have a social life afterwards, which in some cases is not the wrong thing to think about in the terms of you go to work, you finish your job, you go out, you have fun to go along with it. But that's kind of the thing that they're going with here, and that's kind of his heel persona now, is that he just lounges around. That's all he does. He doesn't care, which will probably make him come off as a little bit more of a heel to go along with it. Up next, though, to talk about was basically you had Regal in his office. You had this twice, so I'll go through both of them right now. The first one was with just by himself, and he announces that Nikki Cross and Ruby Riott were going to have a match that night. This is what I like about the William Regal segments, is that they're short, they're concise, and he's there to just announce something's about to happen. He doesn't have to spend 20 minutes talking on the microphone or anything like that, like what you see on a Raw or SmackDown with the GMs. Though you don't see so much on SmackDown, you see it more on Raw, in that sense of everything. And he fits that GM role perfectly. He's like, I'm here to announce these things, and then I get out of the way. You kind of see that on SmackDown. You're seeing that a little bit on Raw now with Kurt Angle as well. So you're seeing that a little bit more with your authority figure type people on the show. And it comes up. I've always kind of liked that, and the fact that William Regal was kind of doing it before the other ones were doing that side of everything, I think is a good way of had been a good way of going. That's kind of why I like William Regal a little bit more in that sense of it. The second segment he had Asuka with him at that point in time, and announces to her that they were going to determine a new number one contender for Asuka's title. And I just love Asuka's expression, because it was like he was announcing the Battle Royal, and she's like, come on. Oh, and that person's going to be the number one contender? Okay, I'm gone. It's like, okay, whatever. Like, Asuka is like, okay, whoever you're going to throw in there, I'm going to beat in any way, shape, or form. Good promo. Good promo on that one. Up next, though, I wanted to talk about this one because if there's been one thing about Roderick Strong since he's come into the company, is that he doesn't really have, I won't say a character, but he doesn't have that, he doesn't like have an aura, or he doesn't have, I won't say he doesn't have the charisma or anything in that sense, but he doesn't have the people knowing about him in any way. He's been kind of there as a wrestler. That's what he does in everything. He was wrestler guy. So they created this, or I won't say created, but they had this video package for Roderick Strong. It was part 1, and they're going to have a part 2 next week. And it was basically going through his childhood and like why he wanted to be a wrestler, everything that he had gone through and everything in that sense, like the misconceptions of him. This was a great video package and a great way of showing off Roderick Strong. It's a highly recommended watch. It's like 4 or 5 minutes, and it's just absolutely good stuff. It tells you about Roderick Strong, what he's done in his childhood, what happened with his parents. He told a childhood story about his parents and everything in that sense. And it was just well told, and it leaves me like, okay, what's the rest of the story about Roderick Strong? It's you getting to know about Roderick Strong, and it was just a great video package. I absolutely loved it. And like I said, highly recommend to go watch. Up next was Keanu Reeves versus Aleister Black. This was another squash match, which is what they've kind of been doing with Keanu Reeves so far. He hasn't really, I guess he hasn't graduated to higher areas to go further in NXT for the time being, but he's in there with Aleister Black. And like I said, this is another squash match. But the more I see Aleister Black, it was not initially sold on Aleister Black in the terms of the character and everything at TakeOver. The more I've seen him now, the more I'm getting sold on this guy. Just his mannerisms and everything, the aspect that he goes into like almost a meditative state at any given time to go along with everything is just well done. I like the mannerisms, I like the movement, I like the striking that he does. It's all really good. And like I said, the more I'm seeing of him, the more I'm getting sold on this guy in every way. Now, the match he had because I don't get to watch a lot of the UK side. I know he comes from the UK side. It was Tommy End beforehand. And the one match I did get to see was at the UK tournament with him and Neville, which was a really good match. But like his takeover match with Andrade Cien Almas wasn't all that great, honestly. But like I said, the way that he's been shown off on NXT and NXT television, it sold me more and more and more going down the road there. So I'm really liking where they're going with Aleister Black at this time. Just really good stuff. The entrance, his mannerisms in the ring, and everything in that sense, I'm actually getting more and more sold on it, and it's been really good over the last couple matches we've seen. Up next, you had a Ruby Riott promo on basically on her match with Nikki Cross, and saying that she was going to get past Nikki Cross here, and I'm going to go after the NXT Women's title. Also, the whole aspect of like the similarities between Nikki Cross and Ruby Riott that she even brings up in there. But the aspect is that she doesn't necessarily do what people tell her to do, but she doesn't force people like Sanity does to conform to their ways. She just doesn't conform to other people's ways to go along with it. Not a bad promo here. It was kind of, it didn't necessarily come off completely natural, to her right off the bat, but it wasn't a bad promo in the sense of everything. Now this leads to what was going to be the match with Ruby Riott and Nikki Cross. Ruby Riott comes out, Nikki Cross comes down and just attacks her, and they have another big brawl. It's another pull apart brawl again. They fight over the stage area and everything. Ruby Riott dives off the stage, taking out Nikki Cross and one of the security guys. As they finally get Ruby Riott pulled away and pulled to the backstage, like they had to pull them off into separate areas to get out there. I like the aspect that it took 4 people holding Nikki Cross, as she's still trying to struggle, and they're just carrying her out of the ring. Like it just signifies more of the unstableness that Nikki Cross is to go along with it. That you had to get all 4 of them in there just to get her out of there to go along with it. Some good stuff there, and like I said, there was a lot of good things on the show that wasn't necessarily just matches. It was like, this was a good brawl. You had a great video package. You had a relatively decent match with Drew McIntyre and Andrade Cien Almas, and the stuff that they have with Aleister Black now as well. But the main event, this was a good match. I get it. Tyler Bate and Jack Gallagher, they kind of do more technical wrestling, but they make it look a little bit more flashy. And the aspect of also how Nigel McGuinness calls this match as well kind of gets you into the match as it is. Like you have Jack Gallagher kind of working over the shoulder, trying to make sure he can't necessarily do the Tyler Driver 97 throughout the entire match. Though the only downside to this match, there was good back and forth from time to time, but Jack Gallagher kind of dominated most of the match. And then Tyler Bate was able to hit his rolling kick, and then the Tyler Driver 97, kind of out of a nowhere situation. There wasn't really a comeback from him in any way. It was just more of like, okay, finish, done. But otherwise, really good match between the two of them. I like the psychology that they were using throughout the match. It came off really good. It was a different style, and it was refreshing to see a different style in that sense of it. And these two pull it off really good, and they make it look a little bit more flashy and everything in that sense. I know the American audience typically likes, because I'm in the United States, we typically like a flashier style and everything in that sense, or 2 big guys going at it. The technical side is not usually the entertaining thing. These 2 are able to do that inside of there. They make the technical wrestling look fun to watch, and that's the thing that I really liked about this match. So, with that being said, like I said, I liked NXT this week. I thought it was a really easy watch. Came off really good. You got some story building for Roderick Strong. You're getting to know him a little bit more. The stuff with Andrade Cien Almas is interesting as well, and how they're playing off of him. Drew McIntyre's kind of just doing matches for the time being. He's not really working an actual program yet. Though they are leading into like a Hideo Itami, Bobby Roode type program. We'll see how far that ends up going. The main event match I thought was really good as well. Overall good NXT this week. So with that being said, that is my review this week for NXT. I thank you guys for watching, and I hope you have a great day.